So I had wanted to do another follow-up on a video card that I bought. And I mean, I know it's been years since this card released, but the ASROCK OC Formula RX 6900 XT I have another review of a PC that I built, and I used this card, the OC Formula RX 6900 XT. And I'm gonna be honest, I've already 6 months into the build replaced the video card. Now here's why. I'll get into it. And I think this card needs a more thorough review. So it has a couple of things that I like. You see those? BIOS P and Q and LED on and off. This thing has a really nice LED panel that lights around it. It's actually quite pretty when it's turned on. My gripe is that with BIOS P and Q and the instructions on this card that it comes with don't tell you what these actually are. So P is clocks in at 2500 megahertz versus 2100 standard. And if you're going to run two monitors on this card, if you're going to run like what I was doing, which was an HDMI, which is a 1080p monitor, and then a 2K monitor, you have to have this setting, this switch down here, set to P. You can see the little switch down there. It has to be set to P. The other issue that I have is that this card runs enormously hot. I was getting, when I was playing Diablo 4 at high settings, once again, I couldn't run it at max settings without this thing crashing on me. At high settings, it was running between 80 and 90 and almost 100 at times, Celsius. Now, I opened up a support ticket, and what they actually tell you is that this card natively runs hot. That, to me, is almost too hot and is the product of bad design. There isn't a video card in the world that should be running at 100C. I don't care what AMD says, or ASRock, there's not a card in the world that should be running that hot. So what ends up happening is, to make it run cooler, you have to turn your fans up to 100%. And these things are loud, and it sounds like you've got a vacuum cleaner going next to you when they're on, and it is annoying. Now, the video card performs well. Like, that wasn't my problem. You have to mess with settings in Adrenaline to make this thing run well. Like, what they don't tell you is that what they don't tell you about this card is that it has power issues. You have 3 8-pin connectors. You know, that's not a big deal for an OC card. So you plug in your 8, but you have to overvolt it by 15% to get above about 320 to 330 watts. And that sounds high, and that's because it is. But this card is absolutely massive. So I'm running a Meshify I'm running a Meshify Compact C 2 case. And you have to run that without a side panel because this card runs so hot natively that you can't run it with the side panel on. You can't do it. And the thing is that this card is over 330 centimeter. That's about almost 14 inches in total length. It's huge. It's absolutely massive. I'm going to put my hand on it real quick. And look at this. I'll spread my fingers. And look at how big this thing is. It's huge. It's heavy, too. It easily weighs over 5, maybe even 7 pounds. Somewhere between 5 and 7 pounds. It's just massive. It's heavy. And you feel it when you pick it up. Like, I'm going to pick it up real quick, and you can just see how heavy this thing is. It's like a weight. Now, here's the thing. Like I said, it runs hot, so it's not like the cooling is doing a whole lot for it. Not when it's running at close to 100C. It has 3 fans, and here's the thing. The funny thing is, this card is bigger than the RX 7900 XTX that I replaced it with. In fact, I'm going to show you that right now. So I have a Sapphire Pulse RX 7900 XTX that I've replaced this card with. And I'm going to hold this card. Don't worry, I've already done the static testing. Next to it. And you're going to see how much bigger this card is. It's hard to hold up. It's huge. It's absolutely huge. And I mean, I know that this is a late review and I know nobody's probably going to see it, but if you were thinking about getting an RX 6900 XT now because of the price, save yourself the headache. Just get the 6950. Unless you can find this thing at a massive discount, I can see why they stopped making these. It's just, it was a bad design. You can tell that this came from an era in AMD's history where they were struggling to compete with NVIDIA. They were just struggling to compete with NVIDIA. And like I said, this thing runs hot. It has power issues. You have to jack up the fans to 100%. It sounds like a jet engine. And if you walk by the side, you actually get burnt. Like, I can't imagine what they were thinking when they released this card. And it's not that great. Now, here's the thing. You can run Cyberpunk at almost full settings at about 60 frames per second. Almost. Not quite. And if you try to turn on ray tracing, this card gives you a middle finger. Because ray tracing and AMD just don't go well together. Because my suspicion is that for the most part, until the 8000 series, whenever they released that, AMD didn't figure out what ray tracing even was. And as a result, they just get absolutely beat up in testing by ray tracing. You cannot run a card. This is a 6900 XT. This is an OC one, and I am absolutely disappointed in it. I can't close my side panel because it runs too hot. That is absolute insanity. That is insanity. And my suspicion is that I'm not some NVIDIA fanboy. I'm really not. I don't like NVIDIA cards. They're overpriced, over-spec'd junk. I think that the size alone makes me not want one because there's no reason that a video card should even be this big. And like I said, this is bigger than my RX 7900 XTX. Like, why? Why? Because they over-engineered it and they didn't know what they were competing with. So they released it in a hurry. And that's how all these things tend to go. And then it's really sad because functionally, it works. Is it the best? Oh, God, no. Is it a value? Oh, God, no. Just like I said, if I had to pick now, I would have gone for the 6950. I think because the temperatures are cooler, you get 10% boost over what this offers, even the OC model. Like, it's just a better card. And I suspect that they know it too. They knew that this was a rush job when they released it. That's why they don't make these ASROCks anymore. You can only buy them used, I think, anymore. I bought mine new. And there's probably a few new ones still out there from resellers who couldn't sell them. I mean, and don't make the same mistake I did, I suppose. When I put this thing on Facebook Marketplace, I suppose I'll include this in the review. But it's a good card. I will say that it works, but you have to know what you're doing. You have to know how to mess with adrenaline. If you don't, you're going to wonder why you're getting such high temps, why you can't, why it keeps freezing and stuttering on you, because you have to play with the power settings. You have to be aware of it, man. And it is a hassle all the way. But if I had to review this card, I'd give it like a 2 or a 3 out of 5. Like, you could do so much better for the money. I spent $700 on this card when I bought it in December, almost 700, not quite. I think now they're going for about 6, but I'll probably put it up online for 3 just to get rid of it. Now, it's not a bad card. It's just, you have to game it. And I don't like doing that. I like things that work right out of the box. And this is just kind of annoying. And it goes to show that AMD really wasn't ready when they released this thing. And that's what it tells me. And I'm not going to buy the 4090 or anything like that just because I think what happened was NVIDIA thought they were going to put more into the 4090, and that's why it's so big. So when the 5000 series comes out, I mean, I know this is a nothing review, but if you happen to watch it, mark my words, the NVIDIA 5000 series will be smaller than the 4090. And it will be smaller, not because the technology got better, but because they figured out that they can upsell a smaller card and make it look like they're innovating, even if they're not. That's my 2 cents. Yeah, but I mean, tell me what you think.